Hi guys, Ico Spilt Milk here with my latest video in my F1 in 2020 series. I'm going to talk about my opinion on the ongoing Racing Point saga with the brakes, the brake ducts, I should say. I think it's pretty unfair what's happened to them. In my opinion, I think F1 it's all about it's all part of the game. You know, it's ever since day one. Teams have been copying other teams, what works, what doesn't work. Why not try it and put it on your car? And it's not just a race on the track, it's a race off the track to find the best car and the best thing. I think it's just, if it wasn't for this collaboration, the field wouldn't be as close as it is right now. You know, people say like about Red Bull supply, you know, and AlphaTauri and Haas and Ferrari, basically sharing parts as well. I mean, with the Haas example, I mean, if you compare Haas and you compare a few seasons before with Caterham, Manor, and what's the other one? Oh yeah, Hispania. If you compare those three with Haas, you know the three new teams, Caterham, Manor, and Hispania, they were all completely off the pace. They were always, you know, the bottom six cars, you know, the bottom three teams. And at least with Haas, if they copied much from Ferrari, at least they're closer to the rest of the field. Alright, I know they're currently in the lower midfield, back marker group, depending on your interpretation of the field. It's not like they're in their own subgroup behind Williams and the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo. I mean, I reckon, you know, if you give each team the same car, they'll all be managed differently, finessed differently, tweaked, and the driver's going to drive up differently. It's like, imagine if you're a chef, you give two chefs the same ingredients and you task them to make exactly the same thing. You know, they're going to taste differently. If you go to like a fast food restaurant in one town, you go to another one, you know what it's like. They all taste different for some reason, even though it's exactly the same thing, but they all taste different. You think, the one in this town is not as good as the one in the other town. So yeah, it's another thing to think about. So I don't think it's a thing. I mean, things like things you can see, like front wings, rear wings. That's that sort of thing you can't really police. I mean, how are you meant to police this thing? You know, how are you meant to how the teams get information? And it's like, then it's tricky though, because you think if Racing Point they know they have this knowledge now of the brake ducts, you can't exactly ask them to redesign it again because they have this knowledge. The genie's out the bottle. And if they did, you know, they'll just, if they design exactly the same thing, they'll say, well, you can't have that because that's outlawed. You know, or they might just like have the existing one, but just make a few tweaks to it to make it slightly different. So I think it's a bit unfair with what's happened. I understand the internals like gearboxes and the engine and the transmission and all the bits you can't really see, the underfloor of the car. That might be a bit of a different story in regards to, you know, that's part of the car. You can't see the brake ducts included in that. You can't really see the brake ducts in the car. So maybe you can police those ones, but not the aero parts, bits you can see. You know, I remember it was about 10 years ago now, perhaps 20 years ago, when the Tyrrell team, do you remember the Tyrrell team? They had mounted wings on the side pods of the car. Even Ferrari had their own version of it until it was outlawed. So I think it's down to the FIA to outlaw these things as soon as they crop up. The one thing they can do is just keep, as I saw in a good idea in the F1 2020 video game, is that you have like random regulation changes. I think that's what the FIA will have to do just to keep the field competitive and keep it fresh. Is just keep changing the regulations every so often. I mean, obviously you're going to have the top three teams always going to, like Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, always going to be top. They have the resources and the experience and the knowledge to always deliver the best car, but at least it'll bring it for a slight time anyway, bring all the field together closer anyway. I mean, I think it's quite exciting to see Racing Point racing with all the other teams. I mean, if the Racing Point was exactly the same as the Mercedes, then you'd think it'd be Mercedes followed closely by Racing Point. As I said, it's about how you finesse the car. Mercedes could give Racing Point exactly the same car, but it depends on how they maintain it and tweak it and finesse the car. You might get a different result, or they might actually beat Mercedes. So I think it's a bit harsh what the FIA did. I think there's got to be more clarity on this. I think another thing you compare it to is team orders. I mean, that's another thing that's really hard to police, because because if you did regulate team orders again, it's very hard because you can say, well, even if you do team orders in code like multi-map 21 with the Red Bull, and then the infamous radio mention from Ferrari to Felipe Massa, Fernando is faster than you. So indirectly, they're not saying indirectly to Felipe, they're not saying let Fernando through. They're saying connotate this message. The connotation is we want you to let Fernando through, no problem. No, don't hold them up too much. So it's hard to police. So I think you should just let them it's intellectual property at the end of the day as well. But how you meant to police that? It's if it gives your team an advantage, and if you have the knowledge, the genie's at the bottle. You can't take away that knowledge away from the team, and that sort of thing. So, and as far as I'm aware, the rules when Mercedes provided Racing Point with the data, it was all within the rules, all above board. So I think it's a bit harsh, the 15 points and the loss of prestige, as it were. Pommy, I know Lawrence Stroll, he was very upset about his people saying his teams are like potentially using words like cheaters and so on and so forth. But so in conclusion, I think it's a very harsh decision with the Racing Point story. I mean, if you think Racing Point have done something wrong, I think Red Bull, AlphaTauri, their relationship, maybe they've done something wrong, and Ferrari and Haas, I think you need to look at them as well in the same spotlight as well. As I've always said, it's been part of the game since day one. If you see something working on the car, on the opponent's car, of course you're gonna add it to your car, and perhaps have your own version of it or tweak it in your own way. But anyway, that's my opinion on the Racing Point saga. If you have your own opinion, leave it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.